All right, boys. It is Sunday. That is a rest day. So, what better to do on Sunday than to have a yap session? That is legitimately something that I want to have in this channel. Is a lot of me speaking. Um, it is definitely a bodybuilding channel. I love to work out and I love to post that stuff, but I think that this kind of stuff has a time and a place. And today happens to be my rest day. So I'm going to speak on that a little bit. Now, obviously, the biggest change on my rest day is no working out, which that can be sad to many. It is sad to me too, but um, sometimes, actually, all the time, taking a step back and resting is going to propel you forward. The second biggest change is on my training days. I do get 650 grams of carbs in my diet, 366 grams of protein, and 85 grams of fat, amounting to 4,800 calories. And on my off day, we plummet all the way down to 4,100 calories. Not at most, that's still a lot of food. It is still a lot of food to me too. However, I do find myself getting hungry, and that's just because I'm a big human. I'm 6'3", hovering between 220 to 225 right now. Anyhow, the carbs get dropped all the way down to 464 grams of carbs, and we bump the fats up to about 100 grams. So that's the biggest change on my off days, is just less food volume. The reason for that is obviously we don't need all those carbs on the days that we're resting. There's no reason for it. We're not going to be adding any tissue per se. We're recovering and adding tissue, but we're not going to be breaking down any muscle to generate new fiber through hypertrophy. And also, obviously, if we just take in that food and we're not training, it's just going to lead to some fat gain, and that's not something that I want to be doing during off season. I think this is the most productive off season that I've had thus far. I've stayed ridiculously lean the whole time. I'm up 20 pounds, and I still have my abs and all the vascularity and striations in my muscle. That makes me very happy. I'll probably put up a physique update up here. I'll edit it in magically so you guys can kind of see what we're looking at about 221 pounds as of today. Actually, 221, ranging anywhere between 220 to 225 this week, but generally closer to 220 on the day in, day out. So sustainability is a big deal in fitness, especially in bodybuilding. As much as you want to say that working out every single day is going to net you gain, there's definitely diminishing returns. And it doesn't matter if you're on all the drugs in the world. Recovery is needed. You can't just recover every single day if you're training hard enough to put on that tissue. Some recovery time is going to be needed. For me, those days are scheduled in on Thursday and Sundays. Those are my recovery days where I don't train. Obviously, I'm still getting my steps in. I'm still, doing my cardio. I actually schedule my cardio on Fridays and Sundays. So today I will go in and do my cardio at some point. It also helps me get to my step count, which is 9,000 steps a day. So that's really helpful, I suppose, on my rest days, is to do my cardio. Keeps me in the gym, even though I'm not actually training. A little update on my slight glute/lower back injury. It's pretty well recovered. Luckily for me, it didn't turn out to be anything serious. I must have pulled something in my glute, because a couple days after the last video, I was just feeling some tightness in my glute. However, on my back and ham day, which I just had yesterday, I did kind of take it easy on the hamstrings. I lowered the weight on my Romanian deadlifts significantly lower and really focused on my technique and form. And that resulted in some soreness in my hamstrings in a good way today, because I really activated them and focused on that time under tension and getting the necessary muscle activation to put that muscle into hypertrophy. So another thing about sustainability is obviously the diet. Now, for me, I live better when I'm eating the same exact 6 meals every single day. I don't really like to go away from that. It actually brings me more comfort and peace knowing that I'm on the diet and I'm not straying away from what calorie allotment I'm supposed to be having. However, obviously, that's not the same for most people. I was just giving this advice to someone the other day. They were wanting to make more progress in the gym. And honestly, some advice that I got a long time ago when I was losing the weight was that fitness and bodybuilding and anything of the sort is 80% your diet. I don't know if it's necessarily true that it's that much your diet. However, you can't make the progress you want to make without the adequate diet in terms of just calorie intake. So, like, if you're wanting to lose weight, you have to eat a certain amount of calories to lose weight every single week. And also, if you're wanting to gain weight, you need to eat a certain amount of calories to gain weight every single week. Now, that comes down to figuring out what your maintenance is. Generally, you just pick, the easiest way, honestly, is to go online and do a total daily expenditure calculator, which you just put in your height, weight, all that stuff, and it gives you like a general amount of calories. Eat that for like a week and see what your body does. If you maintain weight, great. Guess what? You figured out your maintenance. Now, if you want to lose weight, 3,500 calories amounts to a pound of fat. So what that means is you should go into a 500 calorie deficit from your maintenance daily. So that's split up across the week. It's 500 calories, off the top of your maintenance every day. And you can expect to lose a pound of fat. If you want to kind of shorten that gap so that way it's not so much every week, you could lose a half pound by eating 250 calories less every day instead of the 500 if you don't want it to be so drastic. However, I'm kind of a firm believer on the reverse side of that when you're gaining weight, that you probably don't want to be putting on a whole pound a week. At least for me, because when I put on excessive weight, I'm just putting on fat. It doesn't matter how hard I'm training. I'm just putting on fat. So for me, I like that caloric surplus to be probably somewhere around 300 calories. Now, it's different for me in my scenario. Obviously, my caloric maintenance is super high. It seems to me like I can eat, between 4 and 4,500 calories and maintain my weight at about 220. That's obviously not the case for most individuals. I'm just a big person and I carry more muscle than the next guy. But anyhow, the point is that's kind of the foundations of figuring out what needs to be done on a daily basis. However, if you want to get a little bit deeper into that, into just the general calorie range, the macros can play a part into giving you better results out of that. Generally, you want to aim for 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein. I like to do a moderately high carb and low fat approach. However, you don't ever want to do a high fat, high carb approach because that's going to obviously lead to too many calories. My body in particular does better when I'm eating more carbohydrates than fats. Some people do better eating higher fats than carbohydrates. It just depends on the person. That's the fun part about this, is you get to kind of experiment with your own self and figure out what works best for you as an individual. When it comes to the diet, it's the best analogy I ever heard about this is you have to make sure that you're putting enough food into your body. So the best analogy I could possibly compare this to is what happens when you drive a car and it runs out of gas. It's not going to run anymore. Our bodies are the same way. Relatively speaking, if you're not eating enough food, your training is going to suffer. You're not going to perform as well in the gym. So you can't push that deficit too low because you will actually end up going into atrophy and lose muscle tissue. That's not what you want to do. Unless you're just a genetically blessed freak and you have too much muscle and you just want to downsize, but that's not a problem I've ever heard of. I've only heard that problem come from one person in my entire life, and he was a freak. I will not mention names, but he was a genetically blessed individual. On the same side of that token, if you put too much gas in your car, you're just going to spill over gasoline. I like to imagine that is when you put too much food in your body, you're going to spill over calories and get fat. We don't want to do that. Obviously, nobody wants to get fat. So the way that I look at it is whether I'm in off season or prep, I treat both scenarios like a prep scenario. That just means adherence. So I'm adhering to what I've got set for my caloric allotment. I'm adhering to what is needed for my daily step count. I'm adhering to what's needed for my cardio. I'm adhering to progressively overloading my lifts every single day. That stuff matters. Obviously, that stuff's going to play a role in progressing you. You can't grow without stimulus. Now, obviously, most people can't just live off the same 6 meals every single day. They're not necessarily like me in that way. My fiance is one of those people that does not exactly like to eat these same 6 meals every single day, but I've taught her to use apps such as MyFitnessPal to macro match your macros into whatever it is that we need to eat in a daily allotment. You can still achieve the same macros by having different foods every single day. The easiest way to start counting your macros, I would say, is by hitting your protein. So you start by making sure you're getting enough protein in for the day and then just filling calories from there. That's the easiest way to start doing that. Whether it's carbs or fats, when you're just starting out, it doesn't really matter as long as those calories are where you need to be at. You're going to see more progress than if you hadn't done any of it at all, right? The beautiful thing about this is it doesn't have to be all chicken, rice, broccoli. Like, the way I see it is at the most basic level, food is food, calories are calories. It doesn't matter where they come from per se. Protein is protein, carbs are carbs, fat is fat. So you can really eat however you want to as long as you're staying in the caloric range that is needed to achieve your goals. This is going to sound crazy, but if you wanted to, you could lose weight by eating only Ben & Jerry's. Would you be miserable because you don't get to eat very much every single day? Yeah, absolutely. You'd be miserable. It probably wouldn't be the most sustainable way to diet, but you could do it if you wanted to. Now, obviously, I'm kind of rambling on here, but when it comes to fitness and bodybuilding, sustainability is the most important part to this whole equation. You can have all the aspirations, dedication, determination that you want to have, but if you can't sustain your diet, your training protocol, anything else, you're not going to be able to be consistent enough to make the gains and progress that you want to make. So the most important thing is to make it sustainable. Do exercises that you like to do, eat the food that you like to eat. If you're really big into partying, I guess limit that. You can even factor that into your diet on the days that you are going to go out and drink. You eat less carbohydrates that day because you know you're going to be drinking more carbohydrates at night. Is that the best approach to go into when you're bodybuilding? Absolutely not. I don't party at all because I don't have the freakiest genetics. Therefore, I need to hit my variables and nail them every single day so I can be the best. But if you're just into fitness and lifestyle, it doesn't really freaking matter, man. You just calories in, calories out, make it work, balance it, have fun in life. To me, the bodybuilding is fun. I have so much fun doing it. I have zero problems not partying, not going out and acting crazy because I know that stuff's anti-bodybuilding. And I just love the sport so much that I'm okay with not doing any of that stuff. It doesn't matter to me in the end. My goals as a bodybuilder are what truly matters to me. That's where you have to go in on your own goals and figure out what truly matters to you. You can balance it out and have a great physique, achieve all your goals, and be super happy. It's not all or nothing. Anyways, bros, I know that this video was not my normal type of video. I do like to yap. I've already explained that once in this video. You don't need to hear it twice. But generally, the workout content is repetitive, man. I do the same workouts every single week. It's the same, five days of movement patterns every single week. So I'll upload them as much as I can. And if you guys think that it's getting too repetitive, please do say so. However, it's not necessarily about that. I just like making the content and posting it for you guys. I think it's awesome. I enjoy it. It's super fun. And that is what matters most at the end of the day. So please, guys, do give me any kind of feedback that you might want to see from me on the channel. I'm open to any such sort ideas. I am a gamer at heart. I do like to do that stuff. So if you guys want to see gaming videos on the rest days, I'd freaking love to, dude. I have a gaming channel. However, I'm not opposed to making this kind of interesting and making it a bodybuilding slash gaming channel with some podcasts, because that's something that I want to do. Back here, I talked about it in the last video. Back here, I wanted to throw in some chairs and get some pod mics set up and have some guests over. I've got, a handful of friends that are into this just as much as I am. And also, I'd like to talk to people that aren't, because it'd be super interesting and it would probably help them. It'd probably help you. And that's why I have the channel at the end of the day, is to help others. It means a great deal to me. I remember when I was younger and I lost all the weight, I remember hearing about people from my community that started to lose weight and change their lives for the better because they were inspired that I did it. And the power of the internet is the amount of people that I can touch that way is unlimited. It could be thousands of you that have some kind of an effect from seeing what I did with my life. And that's truly all I want in this, is for as many of you to see what I did and understand that it's completely doable. I lost all 130, 140 pounds without the assistance of a coach. I didn't even know coaching was a thing. I didn't have a coach until I committed to bodybuilding and decided that's what I wanted to do with my life. Because bodybuilding can be so complicated. It was better for me to have a guide, and it always will be. Because I'm a very anxious person, and a second opinion is always going to be something that I really value. I'm also just into learning more and more and more and having the upper hand that way. Hi guys, I am super excited about the future of this channel. It truly excites me to turn on this camera and speak to you guys. It truly excites me to film my workouts, and you guys get to see my funny shenanigans that go on a daily. It excites me to film, shorts for YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff. I love the engagement that I get from you guys. I love the comments. I love talking to you. So with that being said, keep it coming. And also, just a quick shout out. Thank you guys for the 40 subscribers that I've gotten. YouTube is kind of a special place because you don't just subscribe to somebody willy-nilly like you would follow them on TikTok. At least for me, when I subscribe to somebody on YouTube, it's because I want to see their content again. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing that. Thank you for supporting this channel. It does mean a great deal to me. And in my eyes, it means that I've touched you in some way for the better. So that's awesome. I'm super thrilled to see and hear that. So without further ado, guys, I know kind of more of a boring video today, but somebody's going to get some value from what I've had to say today. If you have any more questions about diet, training, anything like that, go ahead and put them in the comments and I will reply to them as soon as I can. And yeah, guys, I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching the video, man.